it always amazes me when we speak to organizations where they're tracking, hundreds of different KPIs, but many of them don't track skills, right? And so they don't know what skills they have and don't have in the organization. So how the hell are you supposed to close these skills gaps if you don't know what they are in the first place? And I think you're almost acting with ignorance, that not knowing the impact and the cost actually of inaction of closing these skills gaps, and yeah, the kind of impact it's having both on the workforce as well as the business performance. But kind of coming to measuring skills, Ron, I think often what we see with organizations, once we start this conversation around measuring skills, there's kind of two fundamental approaches. One is the kind of objective, let me give this person a very long assessment, see how they ace that assessment, and based on that, I give them a skills proficiency. And then you've got the more kind of subjective route, which is almost like a 360 feedback loop of me giving you a proficiency rating for your skills. I know at How Now we have our kind of preference, but it'd be great to kind of understand from your take, what have you seen? Have you tried both? Which approach do you think works better?
Gosh, I think they all complement each other. So having a self-assessment perspective where you self-assess your skills in your performance review or beyond and continuously is effective, but not as much, because sometimes some people have something called an illusionary superiority complex where they're actually not hyper competent, but they believe they are. And so what happens is we end up getting highly inaccurate skill ratings and skill levels for people across many parts of the organization. But it's still somewhat effective to get a general gist, but it's not the all in all overall score. The other piece here, as mentioned, is true assessments. And this really becomes an examination for one, which is highly intensive and difficult to pull off. But there are tools out there which are fantastic, particularly in engineering. For example, they are pioneering the field, I would say, who are able to assess exactly where you are with your technical skill set, your occupational skill set in .NET, in Java, in Python, whichever one it is. So the most accurate would be an assessment for sure. It is the most time consuming, it is the most laborious, and it is also the most costly from a business perspective, but it is the most effective. One other element, as you did mention too, is the feedback. When you have 360-degree reviews on other people's skills from their colleagues. And that actually is incredibly effective. Granted, you've got the right people giving the feedback. So make sure the right people are being selected for a given person who actually have exposure to comment on that. And then the last piece, which is actually a tactical takeaway, is on the goal setting and how you get skills in the goal setting process. This is the magic, okay? This is where you set goals, your team members are setting goals, but what's incredibly important is that for every goal that's being set, it should be clear and written in the drop down, whatever associated, what skills are being flexed in this goal.